Hey there, it's Seb Frey here with another exciting episode of It's a Seb Show. A few weeks ago, one of my clients, a buyer client, said to me, she said, "Hey Seb, how about for sale by owners? Can we see any for sale by owners?" Now, normally that might be a question which would strike fear into the heart of realtors, like, oh my goodness, someone's going to buy directly from an owner. I'm going to get edged out, not going to get a commission, going to spend all this time working with somebody ultimately for nothing. But that doesn't faze me one little bit when people ask me about for sale by owners. And here is the reason why. The reason why is because there are no for sale by owners. And when I say no for sale by owners, I mean there's actually very few for sale by owners. There are a few once in a while here and there. And in fact, a week later, she told me, "Hey, listen, I went looking for sale by owners, and you're right, there are no for sale by owners." And she was very surprised. She's not from California; she's from somewhere else. And wherever else it is that she's from, apparently there are more for sale by owners. I'm told by some colleagues just here and there and everywhere, like around the world, around the country anyway. They tell me that in some markets, up to 10% of homes are actually sold for sale by owner. I can't believe that. Well, the National Association of Realtors, they have the National Profile of Home Buyers and Sellers. It's a big fat report they put out every year. And in that report, they say that nationally, 8% of homes are sold by owner every year, 8%, which means 92% are not sold by owner. They're sold some other way. Now, that could be new construction. That could be auctions, right? I mean, like there's other different ways besides just, through a realtor. But only about 8% of homes every year are sold by owner. And get this, in the Western region, which California would be in the Western region, only 5% of homes in 2020 were sold by owner, which means that 95% of homes are sold some other way. But still, even if 5% of homes are sold by owner, you would think you would see some for sale by owners when you went and looked for them. And you do see some for sale by owners, not very much, but I'm going to say it's less than even 5% that you would see. So if you have 20 listings, one of them is going to be for sale by owner? I don't think so. I think it's more like if you had 50 listings or maybe even 100 listings, then one of them would be a for sale by owner. Around here, around the wonderful San Francisco Bay Area, it would be something like that. So where did the rest of them go? Well, the report from the National Association of Realtors tells us that 51% of for sale by owners sell to someone they already know, right? They already have a buyer picked out. It's a neighbor, it's a friend, it's a family member, right? They don't have to market their property. It's sold totally off market. And so half of those for sale by owners, the few that are happening, are ones you'll never ever get to see because there's already a buyer in mind. So there's very, very few. Now, why is that? Why don't more people sell their homes by owner? When you see like who is selling all these homes by owner, you'll find that a lot of times these are in the markets where homes are cheap. Homes are maybe $200,000, $300,000. And so, a commission is actually not a gigantic amount of money. Ironically, in California, where, in the Greater Bay Area, where the median sale price is up way over $1 million, $1.5 million or so, that's a lot of money. That's like what, 75 grand or something like that, somewhere in that neighborhood. There is no standard commission. Don't get me wrong. It's always negotiable. Depends on many factors, right? But let's just say 75 grand. And even when a commission is 75 grand or 50 grand or 40 or even 30 grand, that is a lot of money. But yet, even so, there are so few for sale by owners here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area compared to many other parts of the country. Now, why is that? I have a theory. Here's my theory. My theory is that we here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, California generally speaking, we're smarter than everybody else in the country. I know, it's a very controversial statement, but that's my belief. We are smarter, and here's why. Because the for sale by owners, it turns out they actually end up selling their homes for much less than homes which are sold through a realtor on the open market. Now, part of that is because a lot of times people are selling to a friend, family member, or neighbor or whatever, and they are cutting them a deal and they're not paying a commission, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you would see a somewhat lower sale price. But would you see 14.5% or 15 or 17? It's somewhere up there. I don't actually have that number handy with me right this second. but it's a big number. The discrepancy between professionally marketed homes resold by a realtor compared to for sale by owner deals, the gap is very big. So yeah, maybe you go ahead and you save $50,000 on a commission, but you sell for $100,000 less. Now, why is it that you sell for $100,000 less? I mean, you can put your home on Zillow, right? And that's where half of people go to find their homes. Is that not right? That is true. But even so, what you're going to have is you're going to have less interest, not more interest. You're going to have less interest in your property. That's because 90% of buyers are using a real estate agent, right? So 90% of buyers are coming with a real estate agent, and for sale by owners famously don't want to pay a commission, right? So they don't want to work with buyers who have buyer's agents, and that is 90+% of the buyers. So what you're doing essentially by being for sale by owner is you're tamping down the great majority of the market and say, I only want to work with a very small segment of the market. I want to work with a small segment of the market that's, unconventional and doesn't want to do business the way that most people do business. And that's fine. That's okay. It's totally fine. But you have to realize what you're doing is you are winnowing down your buyer pool. And when you have fewer buyers for your property, guess what that means? That means less competition for your property. That means ultimately you're going to get a lower sale price. So, the statistics are pretty clear, pretty overwhelming that show people who sell for sale by owner, generally speaking, do make less than people who do sell their homes with a realtor. Now, that is not always the case. Of course, I have had people tell me, hey, they told me that I wouldn't get this much money, and I got $100,000 more than a realtor told me I could ever get. That is true. I don't know what realtor you're talking about, but it is true that there are edge cases, right? There's these weird cases way out there where some weird thing happens and we probably don't know the whole story, where once in a while somebody does make more money selling on their own. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens every day, right? But what happens 99 times more a day is that sellers get more money working with a professional representative to get their home sold. And I think here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, we get it. We're smart. We're highly educated, right? We're professional people. We know, what time it is. And so I think that's why here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, you don't see anywhere near as many for sale by owners as you do in the rest of the country. All right, well, that I think explains it. And I hope that you found that interesting. And listen, if you know anybody who is thinking about selling for sale by owner or even buying for sale by owner, do me a favor and share this video with them. I think they would appreciate it, and I know I would appreciate it if you would share it. And you know what else I would love? If you would give me a comment, if you would give me a thumbs up, anything like that, I would really appreciate that as well. Hey, listen, thank you so very much. Thank you for watching this episode of It's a Seb Show. Don't worry. Hey, listen. I will have another episode up again before too long.